All right. We are live. Testing. Let's start off with an amazing countdown and get this lovely session started. All right. Amazing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. All right, family. So let's begin. Let's begin with our lovely session today. Who's on? For everybody who is on, drop me a good morning, drop me a hey, best believe, we are not here alone. We are not here alone. So I want to make sure that throughout this session, if you have any questions, doubts, hesitation, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll be able to see it on my end and definitely elevate to the next level. So what I want to do is, first and foremost, let me introduce myself for those individuals who don't know the face behind the screen. Sometimes we just get all this sauce and we forget that we're all ordinary individuals, right? Here to do extraordinary things. So let me just, what is up, family? I want to start off on this lovely Sunday setups and really get us right, get us set up and prepared for this upcoming week. I want to make sure that everybody, do me a favor, whether if you're on your mobile device, whether if you're on your laptops, I need you guys to do a few things. The first thing is I need you guys to tap into tradingview.com, right? That's what we're going to be using to tap into our amazing resources. Tradingview.com, right? And best thing is I actually have TradingView on my computer. And of course, I have it also on my phone, right? So I'll be able to access the pullback pips indicator. I'll be able to access any analysis on top of Enigma. So I want to make sure that everybody knows where everything is located. First, starting off, let's go into our elevated back office. And I want to just review a few things where everything's located, and then we'll get into these markets, right? All right, bada boom, bada bing. So when everybody logs into our back office, you'll be able to obviously access our Discord community, where you'll be able to tap in, see the webinar schedule. Whenever we post the links, you'll be able to communicate inside our trade talk. You'll be able to tap into the Discord alerts that are coming in. Everything needs to be inside Discord. Here, let's see something. Let me see. I know we had a few people who mentioned that they can't get the link. Give me 1 second. Let me just drop the link. One moment. I appreciate everybody's patience, because I want nobody's gonna get left behind here. Nah, sorry. I want you guys to make sure you're in the Facebook group. You have to be in the Facebook group, right? All right. So once you tap into your elevated back office, you'll be able to go in, whether if that's our FX automation, our FX mastery. The first thing I want you guys to tap into is, of course, Enigma, right? And when you guys tap into Enigma, you're going to be able to tap into some video content that we have, helping you identify how this system works, how to make it work in your favor, right? So you understand the alerts that are coming in, and also how to set that up so you can receive the alerts on your mobile device. All of that training is literally back here on top of the mind of the Enigma creator IT, right? Now, for those individuals who need access to this specific indicator, I want you guys to come in, because you're going to fill out this form that you put in your email that you plugged into Elevated FX, your name, and your TradingView username. If any of this is incorrect, you will not get access. But as long as you have put in the right information and you click submit, you'll be able to go into TradingView and access this trading system, the Enigma system that I'm referring to, right? Now, you're going to do the same process with pullback pips. So let's actually go into our FX mastery so you can see that. First off, when you go in our FX mastery, we have amazing content, right? Starting with the foundation, getting you literally set up, understanding a really simplified version of the markets, to already seeing consistency, right? On top of that, you'll be able to access the pullback pips indicator by filling out that form and checking out the training in there, right? The great thing about this is we do have inside our FX Mastery our other educators, Osman IT, not only their webinar schedule, but also the content on the back end for you guys to maximize and tap into. Literally, there's over 50 different modules here to enhance your trading. So best believe, on the weekends, on the off days, whenever you're not trading, I'm still studying, right? So this is where everything's located. Now, aside from that, if you do have access to our FX automation tools, such as Shinobi, such as Alpha, you'll be able to tap into the Cloud VPS that's in our system, right? Now, without further ado, let's definitely come in to our trading view. Let me make sure that everyone has access. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see something. Let's get into our trading view. Make sure you are in the Facebook group. All right. So the first thing I want you guys to do is tap into your charts. This is going to be where we mark up our charts. This is going to be where we're accessing everything. I'm talking about these amazing systems that we have just accessed the information for, right? Pullback pips, Enigma. What you're going to do is you're going to come in. That's so weird. It's working for me. You know, I can't do too much if it's not working for you. It's working for me. You know what I'm saying? If it's working for me. So we got to keep it moving, right? So if everyone can hear me and you guys can see my screen, can you do me a favor and type a 111 in the chat? If you guys can see my screen, if you can hear my voice, press 111 in the chat. We need to keep moving, right? We need to keep moving. Sometimes we want to help everybody, but best believe we got to keep moving, right? So inside our elevated back office, we have already asked access for pullback pips and Enigma, right? So if you go into your invite only section, right, there's a training on this. All you have to do is click indicators, invite only. You'll be able to have access to your Enigma AI and your elevated FX pullback pips. Simple. All you have to do is simply click on them and it's going to add them into your chart, right? Now, just to give you guys a brief overview on both of these systems, Enigma is an institutional trading system that sends out 3-to-1 reward to risk ratios, right? So look at that. For every dollar that you're risking, you're potentially making 3, right? Now you're going to notice with a system such as this, you don't have to be 100% accurate, right? In fact, let me actually just show you guys a quick view of how accurate you can be when you have a system like this working in your favor, right? So as you already know, Enigma sends out 1 to 3, 3-to-1s, right? And hypothetically, if you have a 100K trading account, which you can get funded inside our elevated capital program, and let's say you're risking 1%, how accurate does this system have to be so you can be a profitable trader? Well, I'm going to just simplify it and let you guys know you don't have to be 100%. In fact, you don't have to be 80%. You don't have to be 60%. You don't have to be 50%. In fact, you can be 40% accurate using a system such as Enigma. And let me just show you guys that the numbers do not lie. Your $1,000 at the end of 200 random sporadic trades, look at that, already grows to over 192K, right? Let's run those same measures in a different market setting, over 200K. And this is at 40% accurate. You see, what I want you to understand is we're already doing all of the heavy work, all of the hard, difficult, everything is set up so you can elevate. The only thing you need to now understand is how can I use proper risk management? How can I understand that if I'm 40% profitable, 40% accurate, that means out of every 10 trades that Enigma sends out, you get 4 of them right, and you're still profitable at the end of the month, at the end of your 200 trades, right? So I wanted to show you that so you guys can see already firsthand how this system's going to work in your favor. As you can see with Enigma right here, this setup hits 3-to-1. This setup, boom, hits 3-to-1. This one, 3-to-1. Yes, you're going to have those trades where you stop loss gets hit, right? But best believe your TP1s are going to get hit. Your TP2s are going to get hit, right? So the key thing we want to be able to do as traders is make sure that we're using these tools and we're staying consistent, right? The great thing is now we have access to Enigma and pullback pips. So this is going to help us stay consistent and definitely maximize and minimize that risk, right? So now that we're moving along, I want to make sure that everybody on this lovely Sunday, I want to help you guys get set up properly, right? So when you're using your Enigma system, make sure that you got this bad boy set up. It's not that complicated. You literally can go from chart to chart, identifying any potential setups, right? Literally, you'll see this, how amazing and accurate this system is. But on top of that, when you have a tool such as pullback pips, you're going to see how it's going to add to your confluence, right? So pullback pips is an indicator it's a manual trading system because I'm a manual trader, right? I'm using these automated solutions, but I'm still manually placing these trades. So I want to be able to see what's happening, the bias, the trend, where's the key levels of price, right? I want to be able to show you guys because with this pullback pips indicator, you're going to have two main functions you're dealing with. Your bias, which is your red and your green black background. Here, let me just show you guys the bias real quick. And then you're literally is simple. Red represents we're in a seller's market. Green represents we're in a buyer's market. And the key thing you're going to be able to do is, for example, if you're trading on the 30-minute time frame, I'm going to give you guys some keys. You're going to go to your pullback pips, and you're going to make sure that the bias is on the 1 hour or the 2 hour. What this allows you to do is now identify your entry time frame, seeing the bigger picture of the trend in the market. Add Enigma on top of that, and you guys have an understanding of how potent this system's going to be, right? Literally finding those entries, hitting those targets. And now we can see in this example that we're going to look at for UJ, we can see what potential is next for it. Are we still bearish? Yes, right? If you look at this first entry, in fact, you'd still be pushing into some targets. So me personally, I do want to see if this turns into a bearish move, right? But before we talk about trades and setups, I want to make sure you know how this system works, right? So you're going to make sure that when you're using your bias on your 1 hour and your 2 hour, right? Because as intraday traders, when you're using Enigma, you're using it on the 1 hour, the 30-minute. These are setups that are going to be intraday, not as much of a swing trade, right? You'll be able to have so many Enigma alerts and setups come throughout the week that you'll be able to take, right? So just fast forward, you'll be able to identify, when you're identifying the market, green represents buy, red represents sell. You have your Enigma system, and now you can confirm when a setup is given, you're able to get in. Not only that, but you can ask yourself, and you can identify, well, if we're still bullish in this market, right? Yes, there are moments that the market consolidates, but best believe this setup, this institutional setup is still valid, right? As the market eventually turned back into bulls and made that market decision to the upside, right? So you're going to be able to use this tool and also identify with the Enigma system how you can obviously minimize that risk, maximize that profit, right? Let's just look at some past examples right here. You can see we're bearish in the market. Enigma gives us the setup. So best believe we're going to take that trade, right? Let's just look at some other quick examples and then we'll get into the markets. Let me just grab AJ, right? Based off of what we just reviewed. We do have a setup here. We'll talk about that. But based off of what we reviewed, we know that if we're in a bullish market and Enigma gives us a setup, best believe, what are we looking for? That confluence to take us where? To that upside. As long as you're using proper risk with a system like this, that's 65, 70% accurate, you're always going to win long term. And this is not no promise. I'm just letting you know that this system, the numbers do not lie. So the only thing that's going to truly take you away from this experience is if you're getting greedy, if you're over leveraging, right? If you're putting all your eggs in one trade, when you got to realize that this system is here to work and save you time, energy, and money. So make it work in your favor, right? So let's move on. Now that you know how the bias works, the background bias, right? Now, the next thing that you're going to have with your pullback pips is your structure levels. Let me say that again, your structure levels. And the main thing that helps us with is truly identifying two things. Where is the market currently at, right? Where could it potentially move to? And where you can take your profits, right? So let me take off the background since we already know what the background does. And let's just talk about structure levels. Quick introductory lesson on structure. Structure allows you to identify the high points and the low points of where the market is at so it can eventually get tested as a resistance or as a support, right? I know that might sound a little complicated, so I'm just going to show you some examples in the past, right? So when you have this market, you have these structure levels. Structure levels are going to get tested as a resistance or as a support. Before they are anything, they are structure. And if you haven't gone through that curriculum in the back office, definitely check out that module on structure. But you're going to notice structure allows you to reference where the price is, because just imagine if Enigma gave me this setup and I know that I'm bullish, I know it's just a matter of time before the price needs to break this, to break through it, and then reference it so we could pull back and take it on up, right? It's either going to want to do that or it's going to want to react off of our structure. So the great thing is when you have structure, you're seeing how the market's reacting off of it, but eventually you're noticing as it's breaking through, as it's doing right now, you'll be able to see, okay, guess what? We're possibly taking that where? Up. And guess what Enigma gave us? That setup right here. You saw it to the upside, right? So when you have something as simple as structure identified, and you know that the market is breaking through that, and you have the bias already, here, let's grab our pullback pips indicator just to double check, triple check what I'm talking about. And we're bullish and we have that confirmation of structure. What we just did is minimize our risk to maximize our profit, right? Hope you guys are understanding this. So when you're putting these systems together, oh man, it's a game changer. If you want to know how to get your Enigma alerts on your mobile device, there's a training on that in the back office, right? So let's see. Oh man, look at that. We got 111s. Appreciate everybody on here. So let's move forward. Now that you have a basic understanding of our Enigma software and how to use your pullback pips with it, I want to jump into some charts and just see what's happening right now, right? So right now I want to have your full cooperation, family, and I want you guys to drop which currency pairs you guys are going to be looking at this week, right? Let's have a quick accountability measure, because a lot of the times traders don't know what times they should be trading what pairs. That's the biggest mistake people have. They don't know what time they should be trading what pairs. This works just when you're looking at Enigma, right? There's going to be times that Enigma gives you a setup and it's going to move when the market wants to move at that time. You need to be able to understand that this system, when you identify how it's an institutional setup, now you add your fundamentals, you're going to see more success, right? That's why we have our educators who break down COT, who go a little bit more deeper into the fundamental aspects of things, right? This right here is a baseline for you to understand. Me personally, I like to trade at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, Eastern. If I get time, I might trade at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern. So the way I reference this chart is based off the time you have available to trade, right? You have that slot locked in. If it's 2 in the morning, you'll see me trading my GBPs. You'll see me trading my euros. At times, you'll see me finishing a move from Sydney session on my NZDs, right? As I transition into my New York session, yes, I understand we're still dealing with some London overlap, but best believe I'll be tapping into my USD, my CAD, right? So what this helps us identify is the currency and the truth of what's pushing the chart that you're going to look for, right? So I want you guys to drop which currency pairs you're looking at. We'll look at it on with the pullback pips. We'll look at it with Enigma. We'll see what looks good, because we're going to get set up on this lovely Sunday. So let's go. We got GBP USD, GBP USD, right? So I'm just going to drop some currency pairs that I'm going to look at this week, just because this is where your first step of accountability starts, right? If you know that you're trading at a specific time, there's specific pairs that you should be looking at, right? It's a different story when Enigma gives you a setup, because that's already an automated system working for you. All you have to do is find the simple confirmations and take the trade. But if you're manually trading, if you're looking at the markets, what are you going to be focused on, right? So I got some of my GBPs for me. I'm going to look at some USDs as well. We'll look at UJ, UCAD, USwiss, right? I'll look at some euros as well, since I'll be Londoning it up. All right. Let me know what you guys are looking at. GJ, NU. I like it. So since we got NZD USD, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some other NZDs, right? And I'll bring in Euro NZDs already in there. And then we got GJ, right? So we got a good list. We got a good list. We got an amazing list. I appreciate y'all. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want you guys to go in on your hour, and whatever happened last week, I remember this setup. It literally was last week, the beginning of the week. It literally, I think it was like, it was ridiculous. It was a Sunday, I believe. We are looking at this GU to push this bad boy to the upside. What I want you to do is everything that happened last week, it happened. Remove the drawings. Everything that happened, all the markups that happened last week, remove the drawings, right? Because a setup is always going to set up, right? A setup is always going to set up. You could remove the drawings, add the drawings, but it'll always be an Enigma setup if it's a setup, right? Like, for example, last week we talked about how important these two areas were, because eventually we were going to see that one area was going to support it and one area was going to break it, right? And we're starting to see it. We're starting to see how that market gave us momentum, right? So when we do bring in our tools, we're looking for a bullish bias, and now we have a break. Interesting, because I know in the past, let me just show you guys something. I know in the past, this area that I was talking about was actually just two key structure areas, right? And that's why I love this indicator, because it helps you truly just simplify things, but see it. Clearly, if we're in this market and we're just consolidating, moving sideways, the market's going to want to react off of one of these two areas, right? And so far, if it's now showing us that it's starting to break, right? First off, it's reacting here as a support, but see how it starts breaking here and now eventually there, right? You see how it made the break? Once it broke and created momentum, shoot, this would have been the opportunity to buy it. Boom, right? Right now, I like this because I'm seeing this might be a potential where I could now do what? Take it to the upside, right? If that were the move, because I'm bullish once it continues momentum, right? So everything that happened last week, we got to release it, take it away, because best believe the setup will set up. So let me just do this real quick. I'm just going to remove all my drawings on everything. Some of these look amazing, right? Look, just imagine. Ooh, you see this setup that was given? I think it was probably an Enigma trade. It actually was. Like this setup, it was an Enigma trade setup that was given out right here. Bada bing, bada boom, right? It went for 98 pips. And if you can see, it literally kept going. But guess what? Remove that thing. Last week was last week. It's a new week, new pips, new opportunities. So let me just take all that out. We don't need to look at Enigma right now. Even something like this, take all of those out, because you're going to notice some of these pairs look good. So let me just do that real fast, and then we'll move into just some basics of getting right on the charts. We already know what times we're trading at. We already know what pairs we're trading, right? Now it's just a matter of staying consistent and accountable to that matter. All right, so let's start off with GU, right? Now I'm actually going to simplify this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up Enigma, because I just want to know if there's any setups that are currently available, right? Currently on GU, we don't have anything. EG doesn't look we have anything. This right here, this move was just that consolidation from level to level. TP1, boop, 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 boop. So currently nothing. I just want to see, okay, this trade on G Swiss already happened, but I like it. I like it, right? But it's currently, it's done. All right, so UJ. So let's just start highlighting whatever Enigma's showing us, so we can make sure that we're in that market or even looking at it potentially, right, for a setup. All right, so EU, like this right here, I like this with EU, because if you notice, it hasn't reached any of those targets, but we casually are going up, right? If you had your pullback pips, you would have known that, yes, at each of those moments, we are bullish, right? So it's a matter of EU getting back into the bullish segment, but you're going to notice pullback pips isn't telling us bullish right now. Pullback pips is saying be patient. What is EU doing? It's just patiently gonna hold those structure areas. You see where the structure is? Bada boom, bada beam, simplified for everybody. So I like EU, and we'll get into this, because if you notice, I don't feel like the setup is done. if we can get the confirmation that the market might want to target these levels, right? Yes, we have some stop losses down there, and I don't believe the market should even reach that level. In fact, we noticed that it's been holding a lot of support. So if I see that this EU might be valid, I'd be looking to have my stop loss at the most right there and still target these areas, right? You're still using the system to identify the matter, but that's when the time does come. Right now is not that time, but I do like it. So that's just bada boom. All right, EJ. Ooh, okay, EJ, we got something. Now, if you notice, EJ on Enigma already gave us a setup, right? And it actually did great. But the question is, does it want to continue? And we'll see. Because you see, it gave us the setup and moved straight into profit, but we'll see what looks good on that. All right, EA, look at EA. So if you notice, we have a good setup on EA, possibly, right? And if there's, ooh, look at this. This is interesting. I like EA a lot, right? So what you're noticing is I'm already deciding, I'm not even deciding, I'm just identifying, better yet said, right? What setups are available for us? Because once you already have these alerts coming in, you're just identifying the setups now, right? NJ moved into some profit, but let's see what it wants to do. NZD CAD, nothing. GJ actually went straight into profit. I talked about this one on Friday. This was a Friday New York session move, right? Literally, yep, 9 a.m. I remember, got the alert. This bad boy went straight for about 90 pips, I believe. Sheesh Louise. But let's talk about it, right? Because on the 1 hour, it did hit targets. So let's start off. The first thing we want to be able to do when we're looking at our charts is be able to see where the market is currently at. Doing that on the daily, on the 4 hour is going to give you a general idea, because you're going to be able to see where has the market moved and where it could potentially move to, right? If I'm talking too fast, if you don't understand anything, make sure to just ask the question, right? So you're going to notice when I'm looking at my daily, when I'm looking at my 4 hour, the key thing that we are always going to reference is something I call structure. Right? Structure. This right here. This is structure. Being able to ask yourself, looking at the daily and the 4 hour, where is the market currently at and where it could potentially move to, right? The key thing you're going to notice is structure is levels that eventually are identified as a support, as a resistance. But before it is that, it's structure. So you're going to notice, if you notice, what I did was I went from my 4 hour down to my 1 hour, and these key levels on my 4 hour are still relevant on my 1 hour, right? So I'm asking myself, what does the market want to do here, right? Because so far we've seen a lot of rejection at this point. So far we've seen support at this area. It's just a matter of time now, because what I like about this is we do have space where we can go up, where we can go down, but what is confirmed? Whenever you're looking at a move that you're doing, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, what is confirmed? What's actually helping me identify that I'm getting in for this reason, right? The reaction off of the resistance is what started the sellers to come in. So you're asking yourself, there's no need for the market to come up above this level if we're looking to what? Short. It's a different story once we start breaking aggressively, because now this rejection is going to serve as a support. But currently we're seeing it's rejecting, and I like it. So let me just see something on my pullback pips real fast. Let me go to my 30-minute, bada bing. If you notice, even as you're going down, these levels are still relevant, right? So always understand, the first thing I'm looking at is structure from my daily 4 hour, 1 hour. Eventually going into my entry, where I'll be able to now identify with my pullback bias, what am I bearish or am I bullish? When I'm doing this on the 1 hour and I'm on my 30-minute, guess what? We're selling the market in this situation. Now, the only thing I'm asking myself is, since I know where I can target, right? Since I know where I can target, let's make sure we understand that. What is your targets? Your target is your structure, right? So if you're entering and you're pushing this bad boy to the downside, you'll be able to see that you're going to be targeting some structure. So you're going to eventually just ask yourself, where's that moment going to be where it might break aggressively and I'll be able to start targeting some of this structure where I could minimize my risk, right? Now this right here, this is going to be a confirmed trade because once the market breaks, we know we can start tagging some levels. Once it breaks, we know we can start targeting some levels, right? Now, me personally, I like this setup, but I would like to have a setup where I know if this is rejection, wouldn't it be more effective if we could get in at a rejection area? That if we can get in at this rejection area and place our stop loss where? Above where the market has no business being, it helps us do what? Maximize our return. So I'm looking at GU just like this. I like that we're bearish. My question is, can it pull back? Because I want to sell it at the best place to sell this bad boy, right? And if we're already bearish on our pullback pips, what we can do is just add some basic technicals. You want the market to stay under this reference. It has no business. If it wants, it could come over here and create a little wick, but eventually that wick rejection is what's going to help. I need that rejection, right? And that actually happened. That happened on UJ this past, I believe, Thursday, right? Let me just show you guys that example, and then we'll get back to GU. But UJ, Enigma gave us a sell. Let me show you guys. Enigma gave us a sell setup on UJ, and it was this setup right here. And it actually pulled up into the structure, right? This was right here when we were having our call. And I was showing you guys that what we would want this UJ to do is the same thing, right? We were rejecting it. We had a line like this, but you already know this is your rejection area. So the market's definitely going to want to take out some stops. So when the market did come up, it hit that area. Some people would have thought, oh man, it's breaking the trend line, it might go higher. No, it's just looking for that area to sweep and then create the what? The lows. You know that this is what? Structured rejection. You know that this is structured rejection. So when the market did decide to start rejecting, right? Guess what we were able to already do? Sell it because it's going down. And as it went down, look at what it's starting to do. Break structure, pull back. Now it's going to eventually break structure, pull back, break structure, and pull back. And if you can do that, you'll be able to find these opportunities, right? So that was the first flow, but we'll talk about UJ next. But let's get into GU, just because right now the only thing I want to see on this bad boy is this rejection right here. Let me give you guys a quick gem with GU. GU is going to move opposite to EG. Right? So if we want EG to be bullish, right? If we're going to target some of these structure levels to the upside on EG, because we already saw that it was supporting this level, right? This was the reaction. We know that now we could target some structure to the upside, right? We know that if we're bullish, let's just grab pullback pips real quick. Bada bing, bada boom. If we're bullish, we know we shouldn't break below these lows, but we have amazing highs that we could structure, right? You already know what the power of having a trade setup that's at least 3-to-1, such as Enigma, right? But just imagine, and I know I was going to talk about UJ, but since we're talking EG, right? It's going to move opposite to GU. What do you think I want my EG to do? Go up, right? So let's just do this quick breakdown. How simple is this? Simple as just following a system. Start on your 4-hour, and you're going to notice when you're on your 4-hour, you have structure. When you're on your daily, yes, you have structure, right? These are going to be key levels that you're always going to start to reference first. Because the question you always ask yourself is, what is the market reacting off of to give me the decision to make the move? Oh, it's reacting off of this support, right? So eventually there was going to be a moment that the market was going to start throwing strong momentum. Where was that moment? Well, in the past, what were those moments? Well, right here, when it started moving up. Well, right here, when it started moving up. But for some reason, this area didn't want to get broken, right? That's why we had a lot of that consolidation last week. As this market was finally here, momentum. You see how it's creating that momentum? It pulled back. Momentum, right? So what we really need now is something we call a pullback, right? And that's why we have our pullback pips. So if I'm looking at EG and I'm referencing already my entry, my stop loss region and my targets, my only question I have is, where can I minimize my risk to maximize my profit, right? For me, that's going to be around this area. All right. For me, that's you could do simple things. What do you know? Well, I know trend lines. Well, what does that mean? Since it broke the trend line, guess what? This reference is going to be the retest. If you have gone in the back office and you have looked at what are wicks, right? In the back office, we talk about candlesticks. We talk about the power of the wick and something like a hammer. By being able to identify the power in the wick, we know that this area is going to be a reference. And what's powerful is, look, now that we have a reference area to getting in the market, we know where we could potentially get out of the market, right? That's these targets. And what's even better is if you can minimize that risk, right? Usually you'll see me doing like a 25, 30 pip. But look, 25 pips is already 3-1. If you can make it 20 pips, look at that. It's already a 4-1. Yes, this is the setup I'm looking for. And if EG wants to make this move to the upside tonight, because pullback pips is already saying we're bullish, and for those who are already bullish, you probably would have been bullish at these wicks, right? Bullish on this pullback. Yes, I'm still looking to be bullish and push it up. Now, one thing I like, and this is going to be me Inspector Gadget mode. If you really look at this market, and this is going to be for those who understand it. If you don't, it's fine. You'll literally see it more often. I want you to think, if people were buying this, where would they buy it at, right? Like it's not a hard question, because if people were buying it, they'd probably buy it at this low point right here, right? Maybe they'd get in right here and they perfectly would buy it up, right? Maybe they'd get in right here and they'd perfectly move this up, right? So when you understand that, and this is two things. This is not just a question of where would people perfectly get in at. This is a psychological reference to where are people placing their stops. Because right now it's not EG time. Right now it's Sydney Asian time. But best believe, you know what time EG time is? 2 a.m. So when the market was right here already coming into this 2 a.m., it made its move, trapped those people, made its move up, right? This is an ugly situation with EG just because it's been consolidating. But I want to show you that at 2 a.m., if you come into this market at the right time, and you could, at the right time, ready? What's 2 a.m.? What time is 2 a.m.? Where you at? 2 a.m., 2 a.m., 2 a.m. Watch this. Watch this. I'm just showing you guys something, right? If you know what time the markets are moving, especially the right pairs, I already gave you those gems, and you're coming in at the right time, guess what? You're coming in when the market's trending. You're coming in when the market's trending. You're coming in when the market's trending. This is not taking you years. This is not taking you weeks. This is intraday session trading. One session, boom. Another session, boom. And what you're noticing each and every time, before you're avoiding the consolidation. I'm telling you, Elevated FX has put together a system here to save you what? Time, energy, and money. What? Time, energy, and money, right? So let's fast forward. Knowing that EG likes to make moves already around 2 a.m., right? Let's just delete all this. What does that tell you about this current setup? I would wait for it to activate at 2 a.m. I'd wait for it to start making the moves at 2 a.m. Right now, this is something we call a pullback. This is a classic pullback. The market has already given us direction, and now we're asking ourselves, where can we pull back to for the market to continue the move, right? I'm going to go into questions after this if there's any, but we're going to jump into some of these charts a lot faster. I just want to make sure we're set up properly, right? So if you know where the market can pull back to, and you also know where you can reference some of these areas that people are placing their stops, what do you think I'm doing, right? All of this is just to say that when you're putting together what you're learning, and you already know that it's already reacting and where you should really have your stops, it's the same play. What's the play? How can I minimize my risk to have a stop loss that's protecting my asset and have a target, not a guess, but have a target based off of where the market has been that could make it. Here, let me go to the 1 hour, 1 second, so you guys can see where the targets are. We got target 1, which is our usual structure, target 2, target 3, right? How can I be able to hit my targets where my R to R is making sense, right? And what's amazing about a setup like this is if you can make the R to R minimal. So what I mean by that is I'm not looking, you can take this trade on 2 different types of things, a pending, right? Or you can just wait for the time and see what the market wants to do. Me, I would wait for the time, see what the market wants to do, because I could literally get in if the market wants to come in, and then guess what? Still minimize my risk, but do what? Maximize, because my profit that I'm pushing this market into, right, is still going to be the same levels. But since I got a better entry, it takes a 3-to-1 to a 5-to-1, right? So I'm just giving you guys those quick gems slowly and steadily, because now we're going to move into the rest of these charts that are looking good, right? So that's EG and that's GU. I want them both to pull back. If we can get pullbacks on both, we got the bias to continue the moves. So we talked about those. Boom, 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 right? Yeah, exactly. If you're going to be wrong, minimize that bad boy and get out, right? So we got UJ. Now I'm going to move into these charts a little bit more faster. Just so we could see what's happening. UJ is simple. You know, it looks like we had, here, let me, boop, boop, boop. There we go. Pullback pips is bearish, as you can see. What's even better is that we have some structure areas, structure 1, structure 2, structure 3. These are all referenced. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to remove Enigma and let's do some inspecting, right? So looking at this chart, I like UJ, because we can see that we're possibly bearish. Now, what I want to see is something, and this is what sucks, because Enigma already gave us a setup, right? If we were really bearish, our entry would have been up top, up here. And sometimes you got to be patient, right? Especially when you get a setup that's after the amazing setup, because the market has to what? Pull back. Looking at this UJ, and this is where I'm going to just keep this one very tight, because I know it could easily try to come up into these levels. But as long as you can restrict the market, it's going to help you at least measure what's happening. And if you have that restriction, you'll be able to see, okay, if it wants to just react off of this and drop to the downside, you know you have your targets, all right? So with UJ, I'm just going to be a little patient on it and do something like this. My question that I'm gonna ask myself is, where has this market been supportive that could reject? All right. If you notice, I'm gonna identify them. Where has the market been supportive that it's rejecting? Right. And looking at this situation right here, I like it. First off, let me not say I like it, because it doesn't look, it's not as beautiful as the earlier setup that we got, right? That was like perfect, boop, 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 boop. But currently, since we do have a setup, I got to respect it. Where can I get in, minimizing this risk to still target my profit? For me, let's see. Let me grab that fib. I'm going to start off right where this structure level is. Yep, that's going to be one interest. And at the most, it's going to be right there. Boom. What am I doing? I'm just looking at where can the market pull back to, right? Where can it pull back to that's going to reject? And the great thing is these two areas are already restructured rejection, right? So if we can find this something like this, I'd have to do something like this for UJ. If we can pull back in here, I'd like to see some rejection because I'll easily do a nice 20 pip stop or 25, right? But what's going to be better is we already know we have some structure areas we can push to down here, right? So by being able to have those levels, it was literally about right there, about 70 pips, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Yep, we got our structure 1, structure 2, structure 3. Let me just make sure that it's those structures on the 1 hour. Yep, 1, 2, and 3. Beautiful, right? So since we have that set up, I like it. It makes sense R to R. If we can get it, I would love it. It already is at a 3.7. I could probably minimize it and make it an easy 4. Boom, for 22 pips. If it breaks these levels to the upside, I'm just cutting my loss because you guys saw it, right? You guys saw it. You don't have to be 100%, but the key thing is to be in the game, right? When the setup appears. So I do like that. UJ, I'm gonna boom, click that. Some of these other ones, let's move into some of the Enigma setups that we did get before we look at the other ones. Some of those were great. And I know on Friday we had a nice setup on gold. So I will talk about gold if we can get it. So let's see where we're at. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop. We'll probably just finish off with these, leave these others alone, and we'll continue it, right? So looking at this U-Swiss, let's just break down this analysis that we're doing on a consistent schedule. We're asking ourselves, where are these key levels? Right? And I like it, and I'm interested. I want to see what we got. I believe we had an Enigma setup. Yes. Enigma's telling us we should be looking for some selling opportunities. So my question is, where can I get in and minimize to maximize, right? If I know I have a nice Enigma setup and I know I'm bearish, and my question is, where can I get in to reject, right? And me getting into reject, I would love for it to be right here. You see where that structure is? If it can hold some of that, that would be great. But we're going to have to keep this one minimal. I like it, though. It's not bad. My only question is, where was that last support that could be rejection, right? Supportive turns into rejection. Supportive turns into rejection. So if you notice, this stop loss is right at this reference area that could be rejection. Be careful. But what I'm going to do is I'm still going to reference this setup. I do like it. I know that the time right now it might be getting ready, but best believe what I'm looking for on this U-Swiss is, you see these structures? All of this is where people are placing their stops, right? So if we could swipe that, right? Definitely leverage some of this as the market pulls back, but our stop loss should not be anywhere near this, just slightly above. We're going to reference the target areas that we got, right? Make sure that we're on our 1 hour. And what that's going to do is give us a nice, easily 3-to-1, 3.89, right? What I'll look for is with U-Swiss, I would like it to pull back. If it can pull back even more aggressive, oh man, even better. Because eventually I'm only looking for the rejection off of 2 areas right here, 1, 2. I don't need it coming all the way up here. I already know Enigma already gave me the setup. Boom, people pushed into target 1. Nice. Not only that, but boom, we had a nice setup earlier. Boom. If we can just stay under these 2 references, that would be amazing. Because if we get up there, we can do a nice 10 pip stop loss. And that's going to turn your 3-to-1 easily into a 5-to-1. Right? And that's supposed to be a 6-to-1 because 10 pips going for 60 pips. Yep. That's a 6-to-1, right? So this would be the setup I would also be looking for on U-Swiss. Now, the thing is, if I get U-Swiss to go down, that means I need to watch obviously what the dollar is doing. If the dollar wants to drop, U-Swiss would go down. UJ would go down, right? So those are actually 2 plays that by the looks of it, look, UJ is already starting to reject. That's not me telling you to get in. Keep an eye on it. because now this is going to be a nice, interesting thing to see if it wants to come here and reject, right? But if those two pairs want to go down, that would show me that EU could potentially go up, right? So what I just said is just some basic correlation. If U Swiss is going down, EU is going to do the opposite. So fast forward, we're going to start off on the 4 hour. Here, we don't even need Enigma right now. What we're doing here is we're identifying, look, from the 4 hour to the 2 hour to the 1 hour, the key thing is seeing where is the market structure and what did it reject off of. We see this, all of this was past what? Resistance, which can now be supportive. My question now is, as I go from my 4 hour to my 1 hour, right? This was the other area that we were talking about. If I'm looking for my U Swiss to be bearish, that means EU, I'm looking for it to be bullish, right? And if I'm looking to buy a currency pair, wouldn't you want to buy it at a low point, right? So when I'm looking at this EU, I'm just going to do some quick magic right here. I have a few areas of interest that I'm looking for to see what this market wants to do. Those two were where I specified, right? Now, if I can get an entry here, guess where my exit is? Up there. Eventually, we're going to break out of this, what? Consolidation. So if we do break out, all of this momentum is just going to be leveraged to pull back to continue into targets, right? I like EU. If pullback pips is letting us know that we're also bullish. Oh, we got to wait for the bullish push. Let me see the 2 hour. Yep. Okay, cool. So this is a quick gem. I did say it earlier, but make sure you're one time frame ahead, right? So if you're on your 30-minute, go on your hour. If you're on your hour, go on your 2 hour. The best two time frames for your pullback bias is the 1 hour and the 2 hour, especially when you're trading on your 15 and 30-minute, right? So this one's going to be interesting. I do like it. We do have the bullish bias. So as long as we can stay above this area, which is that structured support, we easily have some nice targets. First target, boom, 50. Next target, push 80. And then we could easily push. You don't even got to do it aggressive pushes, right? Just push from structure to structure to structure, right? And if your risk is minimal, that's going to make a nice R to R and now a valid setup. So I do have some good setups setting up, right? EJ, let's talk about it. Now, EJ is going to do more of a JPY function, right? And what I mean by that is right now, if you look at the time, right now it's 10 o'clock. Dang, time flies. Right now it's 10 p.m. So right now, if you look at the currency pairs, right now it's NZD time. It's JPY time. Swiss time is getting ready and it's AUD time, right? So that JPY, it doesn't say it's Euro time, it's JPY time. So whatever that yen is doing is going to get impacted with those yens, right? So if they're looking to be bearish, if they're looking to be bullish, right? So looking at EJ, I believe Enigma gave us a selling setup. We do have a selling setup on Enigma, right? This one's interesting because if you notice, this is where it gets interesting. What did we already start to do? Reject off of that area of structure. So my question is, does EJ at least want to stay under? Because we do have some nice structure area to push it to, right? This one's actually not too shabby, right? Let me see something real quick. Let's grab this high point. Let's grab this low point. It already retraced to the 38.2, right? We got the next structure area right there and here with our 70. You see, I would love to see if it could come up into this area, right? But I already understand it's trying to already reject off of one spot. So this is where if I can get this pullback, oh man, this is going to be magic, right? But it needs to be during the yen time because, of course, USD or Euro or other currencies. Let me see something. I got to check out what UJ is doing real fast. Yeah, you see, we did get this sudden move, right? And that's where you see a lot of the bearish, like EJ bearish, UJ bearish. You see, if we can get this pullback that we're looking for, oh man, that would be great, because that type of pullback would be anything around here would be great for us to reference with EJ. This one's going to be a very tight risk, but a good setup if we can get it. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, this area would be great. This about 62. 1 second. If we can enter, that's already too tight. I'd rather see if this pullback could be nicer. Oh man, this is gonna be great. Right? I would play for something like that off of this bearish move. Reason being is because right now we do have this spot that just got swiped, right? People might think, oh, it's the sudden move. It could be, but my thing is, my only question that I have, and when I answer, is, does the R to R make sense? Right? If I get in right here, yes, I can play the stop loss right slightly above, and yes, we could probably push into that target for a nice 3 to 1, which isn't a bad setup, right? Right here, something like that, which is like, it's not a bad setup, but I do want to see it pull back a little bit more. This right here could be maybe something you can do half of that risk, because the R to R is a 4 to 1. It's not bad at all, especially if it already rejected off of there. You know, me personally though, I would want to just see it one more time, just come up. So even I could place my stops and take it down, right? So those are two good insights on that EJ. I like this one, pushing into this rejection and continuing that market. EA, by the looks of it, EA is bullish. All right, let's see. Enigma gave us a setup, a bullish setup on EA. So this is great. This one might be interesting, right? Let's put it together. The first thing we want to look at is, this one's actually not bad. Let's see if we can work this magic. Let's look at our structure on our 4-hour and our daily time frame. All right, let's forget about the pullback background. Let's just look at our structure. And as you're going from that 4-hour to that 2-hour, right, to that 1 hour, you're going to be able to start identifying some of the key levels of price, right, that you're going to see the market react off of, right? And you're noticing that we're doing this on the bigger time frames because the smaller time frames are going to react off of them, right? We have our targets to the upside. We have our structured targets, right? Add pullback pips. Let's just add Enigma in there. We have the bias, which helps us already, because what we're looking for is pullback to take this bad boy up. This might be interesting. So let's grab our pullback pips. Let's see. The 2-hour bias is bullish. The 1-hour bias is bullish, right? So with that being said, we are bullish on this setup. How can I get in with this EA to minimize my risk and maximize my profit? All right. I'm going to reference this zone. That's definitely going to be a good reference. But let's just grab our quick fibs to do some quick magic. If it can pull into this level, great. All right. I don't need to go too extreme into these lows. I feel like already this zone reference should be enough. All right. All right. This zone reference should be enough, especially because our stop loss is nice. Our stop loss is right there in the cushion. I like it. Pullback pips on the yeah. We got some nice structure. I like it. So what I would do is, I'm looking for this entry still to go long. And I know it's a 250 pip move, but best believe, rather than me having my stop loss, right, on our 30 minute, it might be slightly lower. Yep. But you're realizing this pullback is what we're looking for, because that move is going to be great, right? If we're able to do the same move and minimize our risk, you're going to notice we're going to turn an easy 3-to-1 setup into, look at that, 7.5 to 1. So looking at this chart, the only two things that I'm really interested in and I'm asking myself is, I noticed there's a lot of consolidation right here. I noticed we just took out one low. My next question is, I know we have stop losses right there. I know we got some stops right there. I know we got some stops right there. How low do you want to go, right? Because we know we're bullish. So as long as we're bullish, it's just a matter of asking ourselves, how low can we go where we could minimize that risk, still maximize the profit? Yeah, I like EA. I like it a lot. I kind of do. Don't over leverage it. Keep it at a nice 30 pip stop loss, and we got ourselves a party, right? The only other situation we could find is you will see it might start breaking to the upside. So if it does start breaking to the upside, just leverage these broken areas as not a rejection, but once it breaks through it, a support to keep targeting where we're going, right? But for right now, I'm liking this pullback if we can get it on EA. NZD JPY. Now, I know we got the yen, the JPY trying to do its thing, right? We were talking about UJ dropping. We were talking about EJ dropping, right? Looks like some of them are making some drops. So it looks like that yen function is trying to come in on here. Now, the only problem that we're going to see, it's not even much of a problem because NJ doesn't look bad at all, right? We got plenty of space. We could take it to the downside. My only question is, and I want you guys to just check this out. We got some targets. We got plenty of targets. We have plenty of great targets. The only question I have is where can we go get in to minimize, right? Let's just look at this. Yeah, we have targets to the downside, which is great. But the only question I have is looking at this chart right here. Where would I want to get in? Where can I get in? And not only where can I get in, where can I get into to best minimize my risk if I can get it, right? So looking at this NJ, this is the rejection area I want to see. That's what I was saying. If we can get one more pump fake, it would be great. You know, I do want it to be short, but I don't want it to be short right now. Because if we can get something like a nice pump fake, right? Just a shoot, take out some more of these highs, we could minimize our risk. Our risk is always going to be above that reference area or below that reference area. But best believe our targets are always going to be the same targets. By being able to catch a better entry, sheesh, that would be great. That's not going to disqualify that Enigma did give us a setup that already pushed into some targets. But my only question is, can I see this type of setup play out? Look for some type of rejection, but NJ should be looking to continue this push to the downside, right? So those were, man, we dropped gems. We dropped gems on a few charts. 1, 2, right? Let's just go over them real fast. All right, so looking at EG, looks like we wanted to pull back and go higher, right? Here, I'm just gonna drop this for you guys. Let me drop this for you guys inside the chat. This is EG. Copy that link. And I want you guys just to reference this. Reference that bad boy. All right. That's EG. We wanted to pull back, right? Reference this. It's already pullback friendly for the bullish push. GU, we wanted to do the opposite, right? So if I'm not mistaken, Enigma did not give up this setup, so I'm not going to give it out. UJ, I want UJ to be bearish. I do agree with this. I like it. The only thing I'm trying to ask myself and find is a better entry, right? This pullback was possibly enough that it needed, but if we can get just one more kick back up, that would be amazing. especially because it would make our R to R phenomenal. Easy 5-to-1 setup, right? So I do like that. Let me drop that for you guys. Regardless, I will identify that if the market does start going bearish aggressively, I'm still bearish, right? Don't disqualify that just because you didn't get your setup. You know what I'm saying? Let me give it out. Copy that link. Use some good R to R. Use some good risk management, and we are golden. Let me see. U-Swiss is great. EU is good, right? Yeah, I like that EA. I want to drop that EA. I'll drop that EA. EA looks golden. Very gold. Very golden. So remember, everybody has access to all of these tools that we reviewed today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, ask it in the comments. We'll pretty much be done for today. Let me just finish off. I'll probably look at gold. All right, let's look at gold real fast. And I just want to show you guys some quick nuggets because gold did give us an interesting setup earlier this week. Well, not earlier this week. This was Friday, right? It literally went for over 200 pips, right? So this setup was amazing. Right? It literally went for over 200 pips. Pullback definitely did confirm that bad boy. Boom, right? And if you notice, we do have another bullish confirmation on gold. So I do want to keep my eyes on it. The only question I really have for gold is where does it want to pull back, right? So don't get too aggressive on gold, but I want you guys to keep an eye on it because there's this price range right here that I wanted to pull into, right? If it could pull into this price range, we'll probably have to see what it wants to do to making that move to the upside, but we just have to wait a little bit, see what it wants to do, right? I just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it though, just because we did get some nice sweeps right there. So I am gonna just see if it wants to at least push a little higher, but catch a pullback. The key is catch a pullback. You know, if you could catch a pullback on gold, right, looking for it, you could easily push it into some nice targets, minimizing your risk. So keep that in mind. These are going to be the charts that I'll be looking at for this week. And for tonight, I will see you guys on Thursday. That's my next session, but we do have sessions throughout the week with Osman, IT, our other educators. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out in the Discord, and I will see you guys on the next one. If you want to plug in, whether if that's our Enigma software, our FX Mastery, shoot me a message, and let's get you plugged into the ecosystem. Take care and have an amazing night, family.